Welcome into our special coverage of the 2024 total solar eclipse, a rare perfect event where the moon centers itself between the Earth and the sun, creating a shadow across the country. We have our control room here in Grand Rapids monitoring the path of totality across the country. We have you covered here in West Michigan. We're in Grand Rapids, we're in Portage, but we also sent a crew further south, live to Indianapolis, in the middle of the path of the total solar eclipse. We hope you have your glasses ready because it starts in just a few minutes.
And it will last just over 4 minutes. That's it for us to all take in this rare solar event and for scientists to collect data only possible during the period of totality.
As the moon begins to cover more of the sun, the path of totality and our cameras will be in total darkness, something the continental U.S. won't see for another 20 years.
And we're just minutes away from experiencing the peak of this phenomena. We're monitoring conditions across the region. Our coverage starts now.
Thank you so much for joining us here for a special edition of Fox 17 News. We're having fun with it. I'm Josh Berry.
Yeah, we sure are. We sure are. That was a good time putting that together. Yeah. I'm Michael Marhead. Right now, folks, we are just minutes away from the solar eclipse reaching totality. Here's a live image from our crew in Indianapolis. Totality expected around 3:06. That means it'll go from day to night in a matter of seconds. Look at that, some TV magic, and it will stay dark for a total of about 4 minutes.
Yeah, if you want to safely see the eclipse, even if you happen to be somewhere else taking your phone with you, watching us live right now, make sure that you have your special glasses handy. In totality is when you can take your glasses off. So for all of us here in West Michigan, that means you got to keep these on the entire time, even when it gets to its max, which is close to about 94%.
And here's a look at the eclipse from just outside the Fox 17 studios right there on your screen. That has we've got about 94% coverage. Maximum totality in GR expected around 3:11, so just a little under 10 minutes out here.
Yeah, we're excited for it. We've been outside watching it this whole afternoon. It started about a little over an hour ago. Meteorologist Reese Cole is tracking the path of totality and the solar eclipse for us. Hey, Reese.
Yeah, Josh, Michael, conditions are great here. Upper 60s in Grand Rapids, low 70s in Kalamazoo, even Indianapolis and Columbus in the low 70s. Cold air and the cloud cover off to the north and west. So look at visible satellite. All the clouds have cleared out. Lower Peninsula, Indianapolis, and Ohio doing great for conditions. But notice the view on the hour by hour. We're starting to see the darkness overtake to the south. That's where that totality is tracking. Again, Indianapolis is going to see its peak here and totality in just about 4 minutes. Ohio in another 10. Grand Rapids, we'll see it here again, just under 8 minutes away. Josh, Michael.
Thank you for that. And while our eyes need protection, so do our cameras. Here's a special look at the lens cover that we have on all of our cameras that are shooting directly into the sun. Just like our big cameras need filters, folks, you got to take this into consideration for your phone. If your phone is pointed directly at the sun, it could actually damage the sensor inside. NASA says the best practice would be to hold an extra pair of eclipse glasses in front of the phone's lenses. Now, the next time that this all happens in the U.S., the year 2044, if you aren't able to travel to an area in the direct path, well, we have crews today all over the region. There they are.
Yeah, our Max Goldwasser is in Indy, where totality will soon reach 100%. We're getting to him real soon. Haley Vaughn is in downtown GR at the Blue Bridge. Yasmin Ludi is at the Air Zoo in Portage as well. We can look at Max's shot there and already see that he's starting to lose some daylight there. So, Max, how has it been there? How excited are you right now?
Ooh. This is quite an experience, and you're right, Josh. It hasn't even hit totality yet. They're playing some ominous, like, space music here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Some people are already starting to cheer. I'm surrounded by a group of middle schoolers who came down, made the trip from Grand Rapids to be here. Guys, how are we feeling today?
Yeah. Wonderful. Let's go.
They're excited. I'm excited. They asked me if I was nervous. I was like, I'm not nervous, but I'm like getting excited. My heart's beating a little faster than normal as we build up anticipation for this moment. We're not the only ones. I was told there were supposed to be about 50,000 people they were hoping to get here at the Speedway, but because other places in the path of totality had some pretty major cloud cover, That number almost doubled. There were almost 100,000 people here about to look up at the sky and share this incredible once-in-a-lifetime moment together. And as I'm even talking and looking at the camera, I can see that it's getting a little bit darker. I don't want to look up at the sky or at the sun quite yet because I don't want to put these glasses on.
Folks, we're losing Max a little bit because, I mean, just imagine the number of people there. As he said, they were expecting hundreds of thousands, at least 50K they have there. So with every person, they've got their phones out, of course.
Yeah, right now, they're 30 seconds away from totality. We're going to go back to Max. We may be doing this quite a bit. Hey, Max.
And there is a little bit of a delay as well.
They're going to try to come back to us.
Oh.
Max, can you hear us? We can see you, and we can see your shot.
There's the shot, folks.
I hope we're back on. This is going to be very interesting to go back and forth with. I can hear you.
We got you, Max. Explain what
Can you guys hear the crowd? I'm going to be quiet for a second. Just soak this in.
Okay, that feels. Let's go.
It's weird. Guys, I have goosebumps. I didn't really know what to expect, but this is pretty special. I mean, hey, guys, don't just take it from me. Let's get it from the kids here. Hey, what are you thinking about as you're looking up at the sky? You got a big smile on your face right now, too.
This is really cool. It's not gonna happen again for a while.
What about, is this worth? I know you guys said it was 4.5 hours to get here. What makes this worth it?
You know, it's great coming out here with my friends and classmates to just witness a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Come out here to like a beautiful city, and it's wonderful.
Hey guys, hey, what are you thinking about as you look up at this celestial moment right here?
I don't know. That's amazing. That's all I can say.
I mean, there really are no words. It's hard to find. I speak for a living, and I'm speechless right now. If you guys look up, this is going to last for 3 minutes and 47 seconds total. And what you're looking at up there, guys, that's the sun's corona. It's millions of degrees of hot gas flowing off the sun. It's actually hotter than the surface of the sun. And that's part of what scientists are looking at. They want to see where the corona ends and where the interplanetary solar winds begin. And they use that data to try to figure out how to best predict weather forecasts better than what we can do here on Earth. So it's pretty spectacular stuff. What do you feel, right? It started to get a little colder.
Yeah, it's getting a little colder. It's getting
scary.
Yeah.
Why is it scary, huh?
It's just like weird because all of a sudden the sun's gone. It's just like sunset all around us.
Yeah, it's so ominous, and that's a good point because if you take a look around, you get a 360-degree sunset. You almost forget that it's the middle of the day. It's 3 p.m. It's time for a late lunch, honestly. I'm getting a little hungry. This is spectacular. And also, it's just kind of cool to think, I mean, there's 100,000 people doing this here at the Speedway. Think about all the millions and millions of people who are doing this at the same time as us, looking up at the same spot in the sky, sharing this one moment together. This is pretty special. I know they tried to build up this moment in school. How does this compare to what you were expecting?
It's a lot cooler because I thought it was just gonna be a ball in front of the sun.
Yeah. What about you guys?
I mean, it's way better than we expected. Honestly, it's so much like better in reality.
That's a once in a lifetime thing. You'll never see that again.
Yeah, this is pretty special. It's supposed to last for 3 minutes and 47 seconds. That thing is shining so bright up there. We had an eclipse pass through the United States back in 2017. That one hit totality for around 2 minutes. This one is about twice as long. That's because the moon is closer to us than the one in 2017. It's kind of crazy. The sun is 400 times wider than the moon, but because we get an effect like this, means the moon is 400 times closer to us than the sun is.
Yeah, we're in awe watching this. And one thing that you might get a glimpse of looking at Max's shot in totality, and maybe we can go back to it in a minute once we restore connection with him, but the horizon, it's sunset or sunrise, 360 degrees around you. We're looking at NASA's feed of the total solar eclipse there in Indianapolis. as we try and go back and forth between the two shots. But you can see that's that diamond ring effect that you were seeing there at the end as the path of totality continues. It was 3 minutes and 47 seconds long. We've been about 1 minute and 4 seconds, or we've been 4 minutes just past the max eclipse. So I think we're starting to see the end of it there in Indianapolis.
And it's incredible, just the variance in what we saw in Max's face, the light. It was daytime, and then it looks like the moments after sun. And we saw, we'll talk about later, but we've kind of talked over the week of it's important, that area around the sun, the corona, and there's a lot that can be gleaned from that. But we are going to take things back here to West Michigan and talk to meteorologist Haley Vaughn, who is in GR downtown at the Blue Bridge, where things are happening. Haley?
Yeah, Michael and Josh, we are live on the Blue Bridge in Grand Rapids, and this has been an experience. Now, we've been seeing the moon pass over the sun. It is getting darker. It is also getting cooler, and I have some friends with me that have been really enjoying this experience. Can you guys tell me what this has been like for you? Have you been having fun?
Yes.
And you guys were able to look at the telescopes, right?
Yes.
So they have had, oh, here we go. Listen. Everyone is cheering right now, and the reason is because we are getting very, very close to the 94% in Grand Rapids. That means 94% of the sun will be covered by the moon. But we have been seeing telescopes that have specific filters. And can you guys put on your glasses? What does it look like when you look up to the sun right now?
It's small. It's a small, weird shape.
Small, weird shape? Skinny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very skinny.
And is this something you've ever experienced before?
A little bit.
A little bit? What does it feel like to you?
I feel very weird.
Yeah.
Me too. I feel very weird.
Passing over it. Unfortunately, I did make a little makeshift piece of paper, a little paper plate, and I tried to see if I could see that crescent shape, and unfortunately not able to experience it right now in Grand Rapids, but that is still something with the amount of sunlight, because it's 94%. It's looking like we're not likely to see that complete eclipse and that crescent shape, but still really, really cool in Grand Rapids right now, and everyone just out and about and enjoying this once-in-a-lifetime experience. I'm hopeful that we can see some really incredible photos later too, but I just don't think that a photo can really capture it. The amount of experience that you're feeling when you look up at the sun with those specific glasses, it's something that you just really can't put into a picture. You can't even conceptualize or put it into words. It's just so magical. So I'm really happy that we're able to experience even 94% in Grand Rapids.
All right, Haley, thank you so much. And just to see what all our other crews are experiencing as well, we're going to head a little south. Our Yasmin Ludi is live in Portage, checking in on how things are at the Air Zoo there in the Kalamazoo area. Hey, Yasmin.
Hi, you guys. Yeah, I am right here in Portage at the Air Zoo, and it's been a total vibe. You know, we've been here since before 1 o'clock, and like us, you know, people were here early. You can see kids playing hopscotch over there. You've got people with their blankets. People are still with their glasses on, looking up at the sky. The Kona ice truck is here. It's just been a total vibe. We've got a few people waving at the camera. Hi, you guys. So yeah, it's definitely been a vibe. People, they're saying hi. Yeah, so it's just, you can feel the community out here trying to witness this special moment, because we won't see it again for a really long time. I think the next time we'll see it is in 2044 and then 2099. I won't be alive then, but you know, for the people that will get to experience it, it's a vibe. So yeah, we're here at the Air Zoo chatting with a few people and just taking in this moment that has brought the community together.
Yasmin, I'm wondering what that moment, the max percent coverage there in Kalamazoo in that area was about 96%, and it peaked at 310. Take us back to that moment now, just about 9 minutes ago, what that was like for the people there when it really started to get dark there. What was that like for everyone there?
Yeah, you know, honestly, not gonna lie, it didn't get super dark here, but it did get a little bit dark, but you could see so many of the kids just putting their glasses on, saying like, oh my gosh. So that was so cute to see. Just, you know, witnessing kids experience something so great for the first time. And, you know, later we're going to talk to a family who the mom even brought her kids out of school just to experience this again for, you know, the first time. So it's been great just watching the kids.
Very interesting, and it's interesting too just to see the differences in the amount of coverage that we're seeing from Portage compared to Grand Rapids, and of course compared to Indianapolis. And we do want to see what that looks like. As Yasmin was talking about, we're not getting full 100% totality in Michigan, or I don't think so in any of Michigan.
Yeah, and you know, at a certain point, and we saw it more with Haley's shot, I think, there at the Blue Bridge, where things just got a bit more dim. Yeah. Us here in West Michigan aren't experiencing, you know, totality where it gets really dark outside, but it was getting dim. The shadows start to look weird because it's the middle of the day when you're starting to see it get dark outside. So it's a little weird outside. But we're going to come back here into the studio. Reese Cole is joining us now, looking at the path to totality. And one thing that I can't help but think about here, Reese, is that a few months ago when we were talking about this, we were talking about the likelihood of getting clear skies here in West Michigan and how fortunate we are, and really the region for that matter, to have such blue, crisp skies through this process.
You're right. It's a coin toss in April this time of year for Midwest weather. And it panned out beautifully here today. Again, the Lower Peninsula is actually in full sunshine right now, which is actually great. Some high clouds to the south. More of the cloud cover is actually focused in Kentucky, Tennessee, and off towards the Carolinas. But Indianapolis, again, just clipping the northern end of that totality track as it is at 321, now headed towards Buffalo and then eventually upstate New York and into Maine. Our times here are now all passed, but we are still going to have viewing opportunities through this. These are the peak percentages and their associated times. Grand Rapids was 94% at 311. Indianapolis was 100% at 306. And Detroit was 99% just about 8 minutes ago. Now, even after the peak time where we had the 94% coverage, we're still going to be able to see a partial eclipse within that all the way until 4:24 p.m. So we still have an hour and 2 minutes or so to still get a glimpse of this. If you haven't had an opportunity to view it now, you still have time to maybe run and grab a pair of glasses if there's any available. This is cold water in one of the areas that is now with 70% or so as it starts to cut back from its peak 11 minutes ago. And it's not fully sunny. Again, it adds a little bit of haze to the sky. There are no clouds in cold water, but with the moon over the sun, it's just made it look a little bit different. So here's where the path continues to go. Again, at 321, it's over Buffalo, Rochester, up towards northern upstate New York. And then it tracks over Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Now, notice this isn't just a perfect straight line, obviously, with the curvature of the Earth and the rotation. It's definitely changing. Oh, look at this view in upstate New York right now. That's just west, rather east of Buffalo. And look at that little clip there. That is a beautiful view in that shot there. So this is our last solar eclipse in the Grand Rapids area until 2045. There is one in the U.S. in 2044, but that is only in the western states, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and areas west of the Rockies. We'll have 60 per 70% totality during that eclipse 21 years from now. But if we want totality in the Grand Rapids area, including Holland, Kalamazoo, South Haven, that's 100% in 2099, 75 years away from seeing another total solar eclipse this close to home. Again, this 2045 one is going to track towards the south and east of us, really from California over towards Savannah, Georgia. That's the 2045 one, which is why we're only getting 60 to 70%. But again, 100%. So we still have a couple more this century, but still got over 2 decades until we get another viewing opportunity here in West Michigan.
All right, Reese, thanks.
What a delicious rundown of the weather.
Sun chips.
We're celebrating. See ya, this
moon pies.
Moon pies. Slowly moving over the sun chips. Oh, complete moon pie coverage. Look at that. A sun chip? How thematically appropriate.
I've been watching and looking around at the map here. Detroit's pretty fortunate. They have about 99% coverage in this total solar eclipse. Their peak was at 314. We're going to keep it here in West Michigan, though. We're going to go back out to Haley live at the Blue Bridge, standing in front of that telescope, and I'm wondering if Haley, if you've heard anything about what people are seeing through that telescope, what that experience might be like.
Yeah, so they're saying that it's really stellar to be able to see it so close. Now, one kid did tell me that one of the telescopes was just a little bit better than the other, but it was incredible to see it up so close, and they're able to really enjoy it. Now, I hear Michael. Michael, how many moon pies have you eaten so far?
Haley, I have to say I had one idea that was during the duration of our peak point of coverage, I was going to see how many moon pies I could eat in that sitting. And then I thought about it for a little bit and realized the payoff would probably be non-existent, and I myself would probably be eclipsing my belly out. So I have only taken one bite so far, Haley, to appropriately answer your question, but you may not be able to see Mr. Josh is currently consuming one, getting it down.
Yeah, and you know, they're exciting when you look at a moon pie initially. Jealous. And then when you start to eat one, you realize that, you know, the chocolate and the cookie part of it and the marshmallow, that's a lot to eat. Trying to do one of those a minute through the duration of the totality would be really difficult. You need a lot of water on standby.
And we're not allowed to drink water today because, as we all know, water is not moon or sun related, so we can't do that. But it is exciting. I mean, it's moon pie, it's a nice shape. There's a lot of reasons why we enjoy them today on the great solar eclipse day. But
what's the temperature outside where you were, and did you feel a noticeable change in the temperature where you are, Haley?
Yes. So first of all, Michael, you're hilarious. I could listen to you all day. But yeah, so when we were first walking out, I know that our high temperature was about 70 degrees. And right now, Callie actually is showing me that it is currently 70 degrees outside. But I will tell you, factoring in the wind in addition to the sun that is now starting to show a little bit more of its shine, starting to get warmer. But I would estimate that it dropped at least 10 degrees. It felt very chilly out here. It's to the point where I could feel a little bit of goosebumps. It was getting pretty chilly, but this has been really cool. So many people now are starting to clear that maximum 94% in Grand Rapids has now passed. So that was at 3:11. We are now still in the partial solar eclipse, but we are starting to get more and more and more sunlight, and we're going to see that throughout the next several minutes. So we've cleared out on the bridge, but we still have a few people that are out and enjoying the telescope. The line is still going out. We've had quite a few people out and about here just really experiencing this. Unfortunately, haven't been able to speak with anyone yet that has experienced a total solar eclipse. I have never seen one myself, and I know, Josh, that you have also experienced a total solar eclipse. And what I really loved about it, at least the partial one, is just how quiet everything got. Everyone here was just so amazed by seeing that it got darker in the middle of the day, similar to that dawn or dusk, and we also saw it get quite a bit cooler. So it's been quite an experience. And I also know, talking to the kids that were looking through their glasses, it was just something so special. So incredible at the Blue Bridge.
Yeah, and a lot of fun. And she talked about not having experienced a total solar eclipse. I've been in the path of totality before, blessed with fortunate weather in Columbia, South Carolina back in 2017, and got to see it there. It is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for a lot of people. I'm wondering now, with Max Goldwasser joining us once again live in Indy, I'm going to throw you under the bus here, Max, because I know that you were in the crowd of people who were like, yeah, I'm not sure how exciting this is going to be. Now, having experienced totality, what do you have to say about that experience, Max?
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. I was completely downplaying it before coming here. I kept thinking, man, they're really going to send me about 4 hours away for fewer than 4 minutes of a total eclipse, 3 minutes and 47 seconds. I was being a little negative Nancy with all of this, and you tried to hype it up. You told me how unique this feeling is and how special this moment could be. So I tried to change my mind a little bit, come in with a bit of a different attitude, but words are really hard to describe what we just felt. And if I was by myself, I feel like it wouldn't have been the same effect. But I don't know if you could hear me before during our live shot, during the total eclipse. There were about 100,000 people here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway sharing this moment together. I don't know if I got goosebumps because it dropped in temperature by about 10 degrees or because this was just such a surreal moment to be a part of. So many people that I spoke to called this a life-changing event. To be honest, I don't know how much my life changed after this, but it is cool to say that I saw a total eclipse. This is, I don't know if it's life-changing, but it is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I mean, Reese kind of outlined the next paths of totality where, you know, the future eclipses could come through the United States. And unless you travel super far, you're probably not going to see anything like this ever again. In fact, if you were to stand, I'm going to move out of the way here for a second. If you were to stand in the same spot on Earth, you wouldn't see another total eclipse there for another 3 to 4 centuries. So it is incredibly rare. It was so cool to see how dark everything got. I forgot for a second that it was just 3:08 p.m., you know, just late afternoon. But if you looked around, you got a 360-degree sunset, 100,000 people erupting in celebration at the same time. So, yeah, Josh, I'll admit, it changed my mind a little bit. This was pretty cool.
I'm glad to hear that, Max, and I've had really 7 years to think about it since the last time I experienced one, and it was laying down in bed last night, and I started to think about this and how I might communicate what the moment is like, and I wish that I had thought to say this to you before, Max, because we spend our lives looking up at the moon, at the sun, at the stars, distant objects in the night sky. When you're in the middle of the path of totality and you can see the horizon around you still lit up, you feel connected to a celestial body for the first time in your life. This is the sun's light being blocked by the moon, casting its shadow over you. It's a tangible experience to something that you would otherwise just look at way off in the distance. Yeah. It is an incredible feeling to me, and I hope that if anybody sees a lot of the video of this experience, maybe
I'd like to interrupt here for a second. I know there's a delay, Josh, if I'm even still on. But on that note of just sharing this unique experience, I couldn't help but laugh a little bit because, you know, you look up and you realize that millions and millions of people are doing the same thing at the same time. It doesn't matter what differences you have, what, you know, division there is in the world. This is such a shared moment with everyone, and it makes you think we are just so tiny in the grand scheme of things. But how hilarious we as humans, we just like go crazy just because the moon passes in front of the sun. But it is so rare. Not every planet that has a moon gets to experience a total eclipse. So not only is this unique for us here in our one point in time in history, but just unique for us in the universe to experience something like this.
And Max, you talk about this being a shared experience with millions of people. We're coming off of 4 years now away from the pandemic, and you know the world shared in that negative experience. We get to relate with one another all at the same level in something so incredible like a total solar eclipse or even a partial solar eclipse. When you're standing on the Blue Bridge and you see the daylight dim just a little bit, it's a wild experience.
Yeah, and everybody's experiencing, everybody around you is having that same surreal experience, and hopefully everybody gets a chance to really take that in. As Josh said, it's a meaningful event, and it's meaningful in the way that it all happens. So very cool that we got to see it here in Indianapolis. Max, as things wind down, any parting thoughts you want to leave us with?
I mean, just the one thing that keeps coming back to my head is we're so adorable as humans. I mean, like, just why does something like this interest us so much? But it's more than just something cool that we get to look at. I was speaking to someone from NASA who said that they study the sun's corona and they use data that they collect today to try to influence and improve their space weather forecast. So not only is this fun to look at, but it's impactful here. So people like Reese and Haley and Kevin are going to have stuff to use from what we get today for the future.
Max there in Indianapolis still going to see a partial eclipse up until about 3:40, so he's still got some time to see the eclipse there. We're going to be monitoring the situation here as I drag my map around and click on different places like in Grand Rapids, where we're going to get to see the partial total eclipse till about 3:44 into the 4 o'clock hour as well. I think that's the last sliver of the moon that we're going to see is just after about 4:20. So be sure you have your solar eclipse glasses on as you continue to watch throughout the afternoon. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with more on the total solar eclipse coverage.
All right, folks. Well, we're still in our special coverage of the eclipse, and we're going to take things down south to Portage, where we have Yasmin Ludi. We're going to learn a little bit more about this grand
experience. Yeah. Hey, Yasmin.
Hi, you guys. Yes, it was a grand experience. You know, we had been out here before 1 o'clock here at the Air Zoo in Portage, you know, and so many people, it's kind of cleared out now because, you know, we just witnessed the eclipse come and go. But, you know, hundreds of people were here with their blankets, their picnic baskets, and, you know, it's just been a great time. And what's also a great time is this outfit that I've witnessed from the president and CEO of the Air Zoo, Troy Thrash. So, Troy, tell me a little bit about this outfit before we get into the eclipse.
Sure. Well, this is just my gear, and what a great day for astronomy to shine. So I figured, well, you know, if we're going to celebrate this amazing astronomical event, I better be dressed the part. And so I am so happy to just reflect all of the joy that we saw from about 1,000 people witnessing this eclipse here today.
Right. You know, my favorite thing is the shoes. You know, I thought my shoes were pretty cool. These are my favorite shoes, but those are even better. So it just reflects the overall feeling that you have today. So
that's right.
Speaking of that feeling, you know, what was going through your mind when you witnessed this happen?
Well, I will tell you that personally, this is so exciting for me because I have loved astronomy since my parents bought me my first telescope when I was 7 years old. And if you told that 7-year-old kid that one day I was going to get to host 1,000 people here at the Air Zoo to feel that same passion that I felt for so long, I would just be so very happy. And so, yeah, just the idea that this community, this region, they could have stayed home, right? But they came out here because they wanted to witness this. They wanted to celebrate together, and what a great feeling it is.
Awesome. And going off of that community, you know, what did it feel like seeing the Air Zoo's yard? This entire yard, you guys, was packed with people, and then further back was packed with even more people with their blankets and stuff. I even thought somebody was going to start grilling. It smelled so good.
Well, you know, here at the Air Zoo, we love to educate and inspire people young and old about just the brilliance of science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so having all of these people come here to also celebrate, to be educated and inspired by this almost once-in-a-lifetime event, super cool for all of us here at the Air Zoo. This is what we do. This is our mission every single day with every action and interaction, and you got to see it live.
Awesome. And then with this moon in your hand, you know, just talk to me a little. So the next eclipse is not until 2099. I've come to peace with the terms that I won't be here. We won't be here in 2099. But if we decide to reincarnate, what do you want to reincarnate as?
That's right. Oh, what a really good question. So I would absolutely love to be a bird. I would love to be a bird. Oh, absolutely. To just explore the world from above. I mean, here we are with all of these airplanes, but to be free as a bird would be amazing. But, you know, I do plan and I hope we can meet again in August of 2099. I think that would be really cool. However, the next eclipse that actually is going to be going across the continental United States will be a little bit earlier. That's in August of 2045. So yeah, maybe we'll have a little bit of a party here or somewhere down the road.
Yeah, maybe a party. I'm thinking in 2099 I'll be like a wolf. I can howl or something. But yeah, we are here at the Air Zoo and just enjoying our time.
All right, Yasmin, thank you so much. If I was reincarnated, I think I would be a shoebill stork, a large bird.
Yeah, stretch of the century there by our reporter Yasmin, helping us take some time here as we continue our special coverage of the total solar eclipse. We're going back over to Reese Cole here in the Weather Center talking about, again, just how blessed we are. Look at those blue skies behind you today.
Yeah, it lined up perfectly in the middle of April to get full sunshine conditions here. And that is even on the backside of what was a pretty good shadow cast here in Grand Rapids. 94% totality. This is when it was just exiting here in West Michigan. Eclipse in Grand Rapids sent in by Jeremy Baker. Pretty great view here, all things considered, to try to get a camera that can capture the quality of the eclipse in this area. But this is what I want to show in visible satellite as well, and that is the cloud cover that was over Buffalo and Toronto. Just casted a shadow over it, turned to darkness as that eclipse reached totality, tracking from Indianapolis over up towards now Maine as they reach their peak here in the next couple of minutes, or actually exiting peak now as it stands. So we're back to full sunshine here in our area, and things are going to continue to improve on that front. But Haley mentioned that it was cooling down. In 10 minutes, Grand Rapids actually briefly touched 70 degrees and went back to 66. Kalamazoo went from 75 to 70 degrees on just 10 minutes as well. So you get enough shadow casted on the sun like that, it's almost like you're going to nighttime in that sense, and the temperatures start to drop off, and with that wind, it made it a little chillier out there.
All right, welcome back. We're continuing our special coverage of the total solar eclipse. We have Dr. Carl Stites of Stites Eye Care over in Rockford. Thank you so much for joining us today. I got you some sun chips and a moon pie. I know you were watching.
I was watching in the green room, and I said, better save a moon pie. I'm just going to save that for later. You know, it's...
So there you go. So Doc, my eyes hurt after I was looking at the sun today. What's going on in my eyes? I used my eye care.
Well, hopefully everybody did if they were watching Fox News and watching you know, our coverage. We've been talking about it. So there's two things that can happen to your eyes from UV light, and one can be on the front of the eye, the cornea, and the other can happen to the back of the eye, the retina. So the first thing you're going to notice potentially is your eyes are going to hurt. They're going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to be light sensitive. So these lights would be bothering you right now. That may not happen though. Much like when you go get if you get a sunburn outside, it doesn't show up, you know, right away. It takes 2, 3, or 4 hours. So that can be the same with UV exposure to the eye. So you may be walking around going, I feel fine, I don't feel anything, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, what's going on? So light sensitivity, pain, and tearing would be probably the first things that show up.
Are there permanent damage? Is there permanent damage that could take place from, say you just were you insisted upon looking at the eclipse at 99% because you thought it was okay. Is there permanent damage that can happen, and what are the long-term effects that people may see?
Yeah, unfortunately there is. If it happens on the front of the eye, it's going to be painful, your vision's going to be blurry, and that's going to heal up because your cornea regenerates itself every 48 hours. The back of the eye is all nerve fibers. So with nerve fibers, sorry, we can't fix them. You know, you cut your spinal cord, it's like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, you know, we can't do anything. So nerve fibers are different. So that may not show up for hours later. If you start to notice when you're looking right at somebody's face and there's no face there, that's obviously not great.
What would that look like? Is it a giant spot or blurry?
It depends on the duration and the severity of the UV, you know. So the longer you have exposure, the worse it's going to be. So yeah, I mean, it could be just nothing, or it could be just like looking through Vaseline. So either's not great.
Yeah, so while as impressive as the total solar eclipse may be, even the partial solar eclipse in Grand Rapids, it's just as imperative that you have some eye care for stuff like this, even for the next 30 minutes, as we may still have a sliver of the sun being covered by the moon.
100%. And if you notice any of these things, you know, get into your eye care professional. At our offices, we've got an instrument that takes literally an MRI of the back of the eye, so we can look at the depth and the severity if there's swelling back there and kind of help with the prognosis. But more often than not, it's just, hey, let's just wait and see if it gets better, because there's nothing, if it's on the back of the eye, if it's on the front of the eye, I can give you some medication, some things that will make it more comfortable and make it so your eyes don't hurt as bad. But if it's on the back of the eye, let's see how severe it is, and let's just wait and see if it gets better, which is,
sure. Nothing compares to the sun and the damage that may be caused by it staring at the sun. What are the other cases of eye damage from brightness? Does that happen very often, where people get permanent or temporary damage from light exposure to their eyes?
Really, if it's just UV light. Sure. I mean, indoor lights, I mean, there's talk about blue light from computers and different things, and the jury's a little bit out on that still, but mostly it's sun exposure. So people that are outside a lot, especially on the water, because you get the sun from above and you get it from below, and if you're not wearing sun protection, say you're out fishing all day, that's why you should just always wear your sunglasses outside, because it's a cumulative thing too with the back of the eye. So you worry about macular degeneration, cataracts as you get older, and it's cumulative. Like people that are on the water all the time have a higher incidence of having problems like that. And if you get macular degeneration, again, not much you can do. So just wear sunglasses and get a good pair. Don't get $10 sunglasses from the C-store. Get a good pair of sunglasses.
All right. Well, Dr. Stites, we appreciate your time, and thank you so much for joining us. So have your sunglasses as soon as the total solar eclipse is over, or partial solar eclipse, and just be safe out there.
Good stuff. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go over to Haley at the Blue Bridge. Been watching the conditions out there, and we've been talking about the sunlight and the abundance of it that we have had today, Haley.
Yeah, Josh, we were so lucky when it came to this forecast. The clearing came just at the right time, and we were able to see a picture-perfect view of the partial solar eclipse here in Grand Rapids. Now, we were live the entire time on the iconic Blue Bridge in Grand Rapids, and most of the people have cleared because we're minutes away from this event being over, but one person remains, and he has been really showing West Michigan this view from way above. So let's walk over now. We're going to be talking to Rich from the Grand Rapids Amateur Astronomy
Association.
Thank you, Rich. Words are so hard to say sometimes. What brings you here to the Blue Bridge today?
Well, just being part of Grand Rapids Experience, helping out the Grand Rapids Public Museum, and I'm a new member to the Grand Rapids Amateur Astronomical Association, the GRAAA. And this is a great activity. There were hundreds of people here today, and everyone is just awed by the view of the solar eclipse.
And is this your telescope?
No, it's not. This is the property of the Grand Rapids Public Museum.
And from everybody that came up and was able to see this incredible solar eclipse from the view, do you have any people that stood out to you, or maybe someone that was super amazed?
Oh, the children. As you know, people of all ages just are awed by what you can see. I mean, even with the solar sunglasses, looking directly at the sun with the solar sunglasses, people taking photos with the solar sunglasses are just overjoyed with what they can capture, and the views through the telescope are really amazing.
And have you ever seen a solar eclipse before?
Yes, in 2017 I was working, and I got out of the office with my little pinhole and cardboard, and I was looking at what was transmitted, so it was pretty neat.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Rich, so much for being here and being able to show so many people exactly what we've been coming here for so up close. Thank you, Rich. I really appreciate it. It was such a really cool experience here in Grand Rapids, and I have to imagine that a few people, especially those kids, are probably going to be counting down from 20 years from now to see the next solar eclipse.
And you'll have to travel for that one, because that one doesn't necessarily cross over. I think we have 60% coverage for the next big one coming up. But I strongly encourage. I think after having seen one and missed this one in totality, I'm probably going to travel to go see it.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible. I mean, even from our vantage point, it has been something to experience. Very surreal, but we will have plenty more coverage on this coming up after the break.
Welcome back to our special coverage of the solar eclipse. We've been having fun here in West Michigan and down in Indianapolis as well.
Absolutely. In fact, we're going to go back to our very own Max Goldwasser, still in Indianapolis. Max, things are winding down, but it still looks like pretty busy where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, when you have 100,000 people in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's going to take some time to get those people to filter out, as is happening right now. But, man, what a moment. What a moment. 3 minutes and 47 seconds of a total eclipse for a memory that'll last a lifetime for myself, and I would imagine just about every single person who was here. This was so cool, not just because it makes everyone feel connected like we've talked about. It doesn't really matter where you are. I've heard Yasmin, I've heard Haley talk about that sense of unity. But also what I've been thinking about is how everyone kind of reverts to that childlike behavior. You know, I mean, I was sitting here watching the eclipse with middle schoolers from Sacred Heart Academy who made the trip down from Grand Rapids. You know, it doesn't matter how old you are, grandparent, or how young you are, just like a little toddler or a baby, whatever. I mean, I saw everyone with a pretty similar, excited, just thrilled, eyes wide open kind of reaction for something that, you know, is so rare to happen. This was pretty cool. And I talked about it before, you know, driving 4 hours for something like this. I was a little bit wary, but it was definitely worth it. Before I go, I do want to answer Yasmin's question of what I would want to be, what was the word? What was the word she's reincarnated as? Thank you, Adam, who's behind the camera helping us out today. I think my answer would be a dog, and not any kind of dog, specifically a cockapoo. I want to be just a tiny little dog who's pampered by his parents, sitting in someone's purse 24/7. So I guess we'll end it on that. In the grand scheme of things, guys, we are just little specks of dust in the cosmos. Really makes you think, huh?
I'm telling you, the connection you feel with space, being in the shadow of the moon, it's an unreal experience. There's nothing like it.
I think Max is still shaken up by this incredibly magical experience.
He's a
inside
new man.
and out.
Thank you so much for joining us for this special edition of Fox 17. Fox 17 News at 4 is coming up.